Hello, my name's Helen and I live in the South Wales Valleys in a small town called Tredegar. Before I started on the course with David, I had looked at several other course providers, some local, some further away, but all of them seem to pressurise you into signing up there and then. That doesn't do it for me at all. So I booked on a free taster course with David and I enjoyed it. And I thought that I would be able to work with David as well. But I still didn't join that then. I gave it a few more weeks. I did another taster course and then I joined up. And I will say that I made the right decision. The course is excellent. It is so packed full of useful information. It is so thorough that it teaches you everything that you need to know. I really had made the right decision. When I qualified, I didn't start for about 2 months, but then I started in March, and since then I've done about 10 different services. Last week, I had a really big compliment paid to me by a funeral director I hadn't worked with before. I was working down in Cardiff, and this lady was watching the service I was providing, and at the end she said, "Well, you're a real breath of fresh air." She said, "I could tell that you weren't taught by any of the providers in the local area because they're all the same. They write the same things. They speak in the same way. So it is lovely to have you give something different to the people around you." So I must say a big thank you to David for providing a course which has really set me up on the way to becoming, hopefully, well known in the area. Thank you, David.
Hello, I'm Richard Jansen. I am an independent celebrant based in the Cotswolds and in London. With a background in corporate communications and international high-profile events, and years ago working as a performer in London's West End. I always wanted to be a celebrant, but never really quite knew how to go about it. Thank goodness I fell upon the Celebrant Training School with David. Being an online platform meant that I could train at my own pace. The resources were second to none. David, being an ex-teacher, headmaster himself, made the educational elements of the training were brilliant. And also being a successful celebrant himself, combining the education and the celebrant side together means a success for all of the students. For me, the major benefit of this system is the fact you get this one-to-one video time with David for certain modules, where you get the opportunity to speak, you get the opportunity to present, and you get the opportunity to learn. David, being an ex-teacher, doesn't sugarcoat things, which is brilliant for being a celebrant. Since graduating firstly as a funeral celebrant, I have had dozens of services. I've had the great honour of leading and working with some lovely families and funeral directors. And at the same time, I've also been training and just graduated for weddings. So being a funeral celebrant and wedding celebrant gives me the great opportunity to forge a career in my own time, something I've always wanted to do, but knowing that I've got the back and the support of David and the resources there at hand whenever they're needed.
Hello, my name's Lynn White and I'm a funeral celebrant based in Newcastle-under-Lyme in Staffordshire. Making the decision to become a funeral celebrant was really easy. I wanted to do something to help people that are at their most vulnerable. The challenge was to find the training that would work for me. At the time I had work commitments that I needed to put the training around. So that wasn't easy. There were companies that really wanted you to go away from home for 3 or 4 days, and that wouldn't work for me. Through my research, the obvious choice became the Celebrant Training School run by David Willis. David was very supportive right from the start. The modules I could complete during my off time from the work commitments, which was really, really good. The modules cover everything from your first meeting with the family through to writing your eulogy, putting your service together, presenting your service, and even down to setting your business up afterwards. David is very, very supportive and very knowledgeable on all these subjects, which is great. It gives you the confidence to be able to move forward and do the role that you want to do. I've done a number of services now, and my first service, I can honestly say, was absolutely nerve-wracking. It was for a family where they were based all over the world, and the service was put on the webcast so that people could join us from America, Canada, there was Costa Rica, Bangkok, which really was nerve-wracking to think that all these people are watching you over a camera. They were a lovely family. A lot of the names in the service were Spanish American, so I had to make sure I got all the pronunciations right, which I did, thankfully. But what I have to say is that following a service, when family and guests come to you and thank you for the service that you've produced and done, that makes all the hard work really worthwhile. So I'd just like to say to David, thank you so much for the training that you've produced and that you continue to support. Thank you for the WhatsApp group, which is a really good addition that we all use on a daily basis. And I refer back to my training all the time. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Sacha, the Seaside Celebrant, and I run Sparkle and Soul on the south coast in East Sussex. I graduated from David Celebrant School in funerals on the last day of March 2025, and I'm recording this in early July, and today I have done 5 services and a burial, all of which I felt very well trained in doing. From the beginning of the training, there's a sense of practicality with experience that David gives us, and an innate ability to impart the information to us, if you like, drip fed. I felt I was getting it in bite-sized chunks, and the practical stuff like logistics, the marketing stuff, how to sell yourself to funeral directors doesn't necessarily come easy, but with practice it gets easier. And with David's one-to-one support, you get to practice it. You literally get to be assessed on all the skills you will need at every step in the process. Why did I choose David Celebrant School? I was just finishing up a 28-year career in corporate. A lot of that was spent in auditing and procurement. So I was pretty well versed in how to assess different vendors. And in this case, I did a lot of research and I whittled it down to three main players. And what swung it for me with David Celebrant School was the amount of one-to-one personal interaction time that I would get. A lot of the others had, great blogs, but was very much one way. We are telling you stuff and you have to absorb it. This was, I am teaching you stuff and then I will check in with you regularly and just you, which for me was very important. I really enjoyed that one-to-one coaching. But on top of that, I've been finding the workshops where David and all the celebrants that have been recently trained or are in training meet and discuss certain topics. So could be why we choose certain poems. It could be how to deal with difficult death. But I found those exceptionally useful And to be honest, no one else was really offering that level of support. Hence why I chose David.
Hi, my name is Mark Bell. I trained with the Celebrant Training School. I trained with David Willis. The course was very thorough, it was very useful to me, and every aspect of every module that I went through the learning online and each module which was assessed was a really useful guide and introduction to the Celebrant training. The assessments themselves took time but were worthwhile doing, and the final assessments were an enactment of an actual funeral service, and really very, very useful in terms of the preparation that I received. The business delivery training was also extremely useful, and I'm still using it now, and I'm still using all of the modules. Each and every part, when I need to revise something or check something, there are different resources, because the number of challenges that we face as funeral celebrants is very diverse by the very nature of the families that we deal with. So on behalf of myself, I'd just like to say thank you to David for the excellent course that I received, the encouragement I've received from other celebrants within the same training school, and the ongoing training that we receive as part of the package. Thank you.